Farewell, Wanderlust. Basilius Flint sat bolt upright in his throne of bone, his fingers steepled together, a twisted rictus of pleasure distorting the handsome features of the patron of spies and traitors. Excellent news, excellent, he cackled slightly before breaking out in raucous laughter. Everything is coming together exactly as I planned. He stepped down from the throne, preparing to deliver a speech to those present. The briefest flicker of concern raced across the Eternal's face as he glanced at the young woman in the pits at his feet. "Soon the entire Empire will be," she furtively hissed at him. "Soon the entire Empire will be within my grasp," he boldly exclaimed, projecting his voice to ensure that everyone caught the beginning of his grand monologue on the nature of treachery. "Seriously, can't he remember his lines without a prompter?" Elizabeth hissed to Maud. "I can't believe you offered him 2 crowns a night for this." Maud grinned at her director. "He's a great actor! Look at the audience, they're lapping it up. The Rat's Nest had him working for the exposure. Well, they've made him famous and now we're cashing in." She rubbed her hands together in self-evident glee at their good fortune. "He can't remember his lines," protested Elizabeth. "Soon the entire Empire will be in my grasp, and I shall squeeze them till the pips squeak. We did this very scene literally 6 times in rehearsal." "Be fair, this new play was only written 2 weeks ago. This spiral stuff is brand new material. It's not his fault there's no time for learning lines. And look," the producer exhorted, spreading her arms, gesturing to the back of the theatre. "Every seat is full, night after night, every seat. Do you know what a full house means, Elsa?" "That we've swapped our virtues for coins and we're artistically bankrupt?" she asked her boss sarcastically. "It means we're dropping the ring and catching the crown, Elsa. When was the last time the theatre sold every seat? This is the big time for us. The Keeper of the Black Vaults might not be high art, but it's a crowd pleaser, and that means we're all making good money." Overview. The spring equinox saw several dramatic events: the ratification of the Caliact Treaty, the conquest of the Barons, and the first ever performance of an imperial enchantment tied to the realm of autumn. The Net and Vine of Wintermark used consummate mastery of autumn magic to create the Bounty of the Brilliant Broker, which has spread across the Empire like a subtle web. As with all imperial enchantments, the potent magic inspires a number of unpredictable effects and attracts the attention of the Eternals of the realm. The main thrust of the magic appears to be to encourage trade and prosperity, yet the magic expresses itself through all the resonances of autumn magic, and also through its dissonances. The latter is the cause of some disruption. The enchantment was created before the last echoes of the Hallow of the Green World evoked at the winter solstice had entirely faded away. Students of the Omnihedron theory posit that by working imperial-scale enchantments in a specific order, the resonances of the realms can build on each other, in a similar way to the way the familiar rituals used to enchant farms feed into one another to create more dramatic effects. The autumn realm is, however, explicitly dissonant with much of spring. The resonance of binding strives against the resonance of chaos. The art of craftsmanship is at odds with the seeds of ruin. The spring resonance of fertility clashes with autumn's dissonance for vegetation. This appears to have made the powerful magical working especially unpredictable. Summer Gold. The Bounty of the Brilliant Broker casts its net across the entire Empire, or at least all those territories that were imperial at the end of the spring equinox. As such, its magic is not felt directly in Leothaven, Brokeliand, Feroz, or Spiral. It has, however, spread into the Barrens, which was effectively conquered by Imperial heroes during the Battle of Meridion. Where the effects of the Hallow of the Green World were apparent to everyone, autumn magic often does its work by gently nudging the whims of chance and fate. Bounty of the Brilliant Broker is no exception, and many citizens are oblivious to the magic even as it subtly pushes them towards situations that offer opportunities for increased wealth and prosperity. Sometimes the ritual's effect take form of serendipitous finds, a sock full of orichalcum discovered wedged in a chimney, or documents entitling the bearer to part ownership of a prosperous bakery found wedged under a wonky table leg, a lost throne coin fished out of a midden that will feed a Savossen orphan for a month, a dusty bottle of 100-year-old wine from the vines of Astolat found at the back of an old wardrobe. Other times it takes the shape of outrageous coincidence, The travelling merchant prince whose unexpected bout of food poisoning positions a country physic in exactly the right place at the right time to benefit from their grateful largesse. An overheard conversation that provides lucrative inside information about an upcoming deal. An accident that delays a trip to the market to just the right time to take advantage of a trader's desire not to have to take any of their merchandise home. As a consequence, every Imperial citizen attending Anvil for the summer solstice receives a small amount of additional income, even if they are not based in one of the affected territories. Rather than 18 rings, every character will receive 26 rings, representing additional profit or lucky finds. Blood of Autumn. During the last 3 months, characters with the Cambion lineage have been exposed to powerful autumn magic with a number of potent effects. Every Cambion is affected differently, and it is entirely fine to ignore these changes or to downplay their effect. The bounty of the Brilliant Broker has strengthened the influence of the Autumn Realm on the Empire, and, by extension, on all Imperial Cambion. Its effects may linger for the duration of the summer solstice, increasing the impact of one or more of the Cambion's role-playing trappings. Cambions who have been exposed to the bounty of the Brilliant Broker may find themselves feeling especially driven, competitive, and opinionated, but find it more difficult to resist treating others as nothing more than tools to further their own ruthless plans. A Cambion may also find that the bounty has permanently, or temporarily, strengthened the trappings of their lineage. The lingering autumn magic also allows any Cambion character to use a special magical ability once during the coming event. Following 5 seconds of appropriate role-playing during which you either verbally denounce a political rival, or enthusiastically monologue about your ambitions and goals, you may choose to do one of the following. Restore a single spent hero point, regain up to 2 points of personal mana, or overcome a role-playing effect as if you had spent a hero point. You cannot take any offensive action or move from the spot while you are performing this appropriate role-playing, and it must be obvious to everyone within 10 feet that you are doing something. The ability cannot be used secretly. As with similar abilities, it can't be used if you are weakened or dying. After the battle or encounter where you use this ability, you experience a role-playing effect depending on how you triggered it. If you denounced a political rival, you feel driven to confront that rival, or someone connected with them, and either recruit them to your cause or make it clear that they will not interfere with your plans. If you enthusiastically monologued about your ambitions and goals, you feel driven to recruit allies who can help you realize your ambitions, or take some other concrete step towards achieving your goal. Ripples of Gold. As a consequence, after the summer solstice, any business owner has the option to diversify their resource without paying the usual cost to do so. Normally, diversifying a personal resource costs 1 throne each time it is done. This cost is waived until the start of the autumn equinox. Furthermore, the range of options available to business owners who do diversify has been significantly increased. They can already diversify to mine resources. Thanks to the many factors set in motion by the autumn enchantment, they also gain the ability to diversify so as to gain 2 measures of a specific forest resource, 2 drams of a chosen herb, a dose of lial, or a single mana crystal. These additional diversification options represent specific trade agreements or changes to the way the business operates. These options will remain available for at least the next year and potentially indefinitely, assuming nothing significant changes. Wages of Wickedness. The bounty of the Brilliant Broker also offers an opportunity for business owners to trade with more esoteric merchants. As the summer solstice approaches, otherworldly caravans emerge from Autumn Regio around Tasato, Savos, Holberg, Temeshwar, Mead, Sorok, Cargo, and Kalperheim. They bear with them peculiar brass wagons drawn by massive 6-legged lizards with scales of polished lead. After speaking with civil servants associated with the bourse, they unload significant amount of white granite, weirwood, and mithril into imperial warehouses, receiving bourse notes in return. Interested onlookers find the heralds, members of the bailiffs of the Guttered Flame, eager to talk about their business. They primarily hail from the city of Gold and Lead, but represent interests across all the cities of the Autumn Realm. The valuable magical materials are not gifts for the Empire, but rather they are being banked so that the heralds can acquire scrip, a term they use to describe bourse notes, so they can engage in trade with imperial merchants. They are a little evasive about how precisely they intend to do that. There is some speculation that an auction is planned. A week before the summer solstice, however, it becomes clear that they have something else in mind. Through various means, both mundane and supernatural, every business owner visiting Anvil finds themselves in possession of a single voucher. These vouchers can be used to engage in trade with the bailiffs of the Guttered Flame to purchase wains. A wain of mithril costs 16 crowns, a wain of white granite costs 20 crowns, and a wain of weirwood costs 24 crowns. The vouchers are only usable during the summer solstice, and can only be used once to purchase one wain. All that is required is that the voucher be placed in a container with the appropriate amount of money as part of the performance of the Ephesus Scale ritual. The box must only contain vouchers and money, but any number of vouchers can be redeemed with a single casting, as long as enough money is included. If more than one type of wain is required, the vouchers should be marked appropriately. Each voucher is imbued with autumn magic that will fade away after the summer solstice. When asked why they have set up such a complicated method of trade, the representatives of the Guttered Flame explain that by using what they call the mundane exchange, they will be better able to demonstrate their ability to produce wealth to various factions of Autumn Realm whose attention they are keen to secure. If the sale goes well, it will open up many more opportunities for them to gain wealth and influence and build the prestige of their guild. The bailiffs of the Guttered Flame specialize in acquiring the assets of those with significant debts in the Autumn Realm, or who run afoul of the lictors. They recently gained prestige and notoriety selling off various possessions of the Reckoner of Hours, after that herald's disastrous fall from grace at the hands of the Archmage of Autumn. It turns out, however, that this recent enterprise is being financed with resources gained from a potentially controversial source. Over the last 6 months, they have bought up all the assets that used to belong to Farum Vex, Voivode of Chains. After that powerful herald was killed by Imperial soldiers during what the heralds insist on calling that unfortunate rations grab incident, their estates were seized and sold to pay their debts. The wains they are selling were claimed from the extensive vaults beneath the Cage of Gold, that part of the City of Gold and Lead once overseen by the deceased herald and their servants. It stands to reason then that they are proceeds from the slave trade. The bailiffs of Guttered Flame are keen to make good on their investment, and don't see why the source of the goods should be a problem. As news of the provenance of their wains begin to spread, however, there are several vocal citizens who disagree and argue that anyone who buys one of these wains is benefiting from slavery. Pragmatism be damned. Once the summer solstice is over, the bailiffs of the Guttered Flame intend to reclaim the materials they have placed in Imperial warehouses, assuming there are any left. That means the letters of acquisition they have issued are only valid at the forthcoming summit. Enchanted Brokers. A few businesses seem particularly lucky and attract an additional benefit. Any character whose business was enchanted with rivers of gold, streams of silver, or gift of the wily broker during the spring equinox will receive a ribbon in their pack for a trinket they have acquired. They are encouraged to make up a story appropriate to the characterization of the nature of their business to explain how they came by them. Each of these trinkets is a minor magic item that must be bonded as normal, and most have only a couple of seasons remaining before they expire. Treasures of the Earth. Imperial magicians and herbalists are familiar with the rare herb Realm's Root that prospers in places where magic flows freely. For some time, philosophers have pondered whether there may be other examples of things that remain quiescent in the absence of powerful magic. Following the spring equinox, more evidence is found that this might indeed be the case. As the autumn magic washes over the Empire, a handful of miners report previously unknown minerals found in the depths of some of the deepest and most prosperous mines. These fruits of the earth seem to come in 4 different flavors, depending on the mine where they are uncovered, and seem to be superlatively rare. They take the form of irregular geodes, within which are found vibrantly colored crystals and stones. It is difficult to open these mineral formations without the crystals within shattering, but the shards and dust left behind lose none of their eerie arcane potency. In the hands of a skilled artisan, this magic can be unlocked to empower existing magical items. After being used once, the deep stone loses its power, crumbling to inert dust. Artisans and mine owners have catalogued 4 different varieties of deep stone, and determined that each is associated with a single magical metal. Warstones are found in deposits of green iron. An artisan can use them to partially restore the power of a magic dagger, one-handed weapon, two-handed weapon, one-handed spear, paired weapon, polearm, or arcane weapon. Bloodstones are found in deposits of welt silver. They can be used to restore power to magic armor, including mage robes, mage armor, or vestments that allow the wearer to use the Relentless or Unstoppable ability. Spellstones are found near Tempest Jade and can be used to restore spellcasting abilities to a wand, rod, or staff. Heartstones are found alongside Orichalcum and grant additional resistance to damage to magic armor, including mage robes, mage armor, and vestments, that provide additional ranks of endurance. The deep stones seem remarkably rare, easily as rare as Realm's Root. Some arcane theoreticians, however, suggest that even with the magic of the Imperial Autumn fading, there may be a way to find some more. The ritual Revelation of the Jewel's Sparkling Heart uses day magic to find valuable minerals underground, and seems ideal for this purpose. A Varushka magician by the name of Vona Ovanovich, an itinerant who occasionally visits the icy crag of the Eternal Sun, has also mentioned a ritual called Bulging at the Seams, which might also be perfect for identifying deep stones before their power recedes entirely. During the summer solstice, it is possible to perform either of these rituals on a mine while using a deep stone of any kind as a focus. The deep stone will be destroyed in the process, but will warp the enchantment so that instead of producing any additional ingots of material, the mine will produce 4 deep stones. After the summer solstice, the magic that roused these deep stones will have faded, and the technique won't work again. Dissonant growth. Not every effect of the bounty of the Brilliant Broker has been universally well received, however. The dissonant effects of the Autumn Imperial enchantment, coming so closely on the heels of Hallow of the Green World, have had very unexpected results. Their impact is even felt in the Barrens and Bregasland, places not impacted by the Spring Ritual. The ongoing effects of Children in Bloom are not impacted. It is still possible to enhance farms and so forth. However, the expected production of every farm and forest in the Empire has been altered by the autumn magic, in ways that are impossible to ignore. A portion of the expected production of every farm has been transmuted into inedible, inorganic, twisted, weird material. Ears of corn that fall apart like loose sand when touched, fleece that blunts the shears of shepherds, having more in common with metal than wood. Agglutinate milk that flows sluggishly and tastes absolutely vile. Cabbages whose leaves have the consistency of parchment and crumble to ashes when handled. At first, this leaves farmers angry and worried, concerned that this might represent some spreading blight. Then, an Urizen magician, one of the farmers who oversees a unit of Ushabti labourers, carefully examines the peculiar residues and publishes their findings. The broken and twisted produce of the farms is rich in a particular kind of autumn magic that might be of even more interest to magicians than rice and carrots. Grudgingly, farmers start to gather the ruined produce, enlisting the help of local magicians to determine which parts are valuable. Every farm owner in the Empire will find that their farm has produced 72 fewer rings than expected this season. Instead, their packs will contain a dose of ashen residue, the remains of produce ruined by autumn magic. This peculiar consumable can be consumed by a magician to cast either the Mend or Entangle spell as if they knew it, without spending any personal mana. It has potentially greater use to an adept of autumn lore. Provided every contributor to the ritual has mastered it, the ashen residue can be used in place of crystal mana, providing all the required mana for any autumn ritual of magnitude 8 or lower. It can't be combined with actual crystal mana. The whole cost is paid, but the magnitude of the ritual cannot be higher than 8. So, for example, the ashen residue could be used when performing Streams of Silver, a magnitude 2 ritual, and the casters could add up to 4 additional targets, raising the magnitude to 6, and still make use of the residue. The residue is useless for performing arcane projections due to the inability of magicians to master them, and because the arcane projection itself provides all the mana needed when the magnitude is 8 or lower. While it has similarities to Warm Ashes, it's clearly not as versatile as actual Viz, but there are surely magicians out there who would be interested in acquiring it. At the same time as Imperial farmers are seeing their crops turn twisted and inedible, the forest owners of the Empire are encountering strange effects of their own. Instead of Beggar's Lie, Ambergelt, or the like, as summer draws closer, small numbers of strange blossoms appear on the branches of otherwise normal trees. Seemingly made of metal, the flowers are a 9-day wonder, but the fruit that comes from them is especially strange. Some appear to be familiar fruit, nuts, or berries, while others are very odd indeed, twisted shapes not seen in any Imperial forest, even odder than chaos fruit, which are at least recognizable as fruit. All have one thing in common: they are composed of inorganic material. Some are metal, others mineral, all inedible. At first taken to be little more than curios, the fruit appear to be very interesting to Eternals, and not just of those of the realm of Autumn. Discussions with Autumn magicians and heralds of Ephesus lead Imperial magicians to determine that such fruit can be targeted by any ritual that trades with an Eternal. Rituals such as Before the Throne of Estivus, Tithe of Bats, Wellspring of the Highspreek, and Gift of Knowledge. They seem to be a legitimate target for all those rituals, even the ones that require a specific kind of material, and valued as equivalent to 5 whole ingots or measures. When used by themselves, they result in the ritual providing a single piece of these. They can also be used alongside more traditional materials without increasing the magnitude of the ritual, even when the ritual does not normally allow additional targets, such as with Gift of Knowledge. There is some speculation that the metallic fruit may work the same way if included alongside, or in place of, a magic item given as tribute to the thrice-cursed court, but nobody can say for sure as the Empire's relationship with Scathe means the ritual is interdicted. Menhirs and Mana. A handful of farms in the Marches have experienced additional changes, sparked by the Imperial enchantment. Some of the farms that have had menhirs built on them are turning into mana sites. The farms that produce more than 2 mana crystals each season have started to change, transforming into mana sites. Circle of the Rosy Rook, a small circle of landskeepers who keep their business in the market town of Wayford, have offered to help any Marchers who want to retain their farm as a farm by deconstructing the menhirs in the week after the summer solstice. The circle will even pay for the stone they take away, to the tune of a throne for each set of menhirs.